أعوذ بالله السميع العليم. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed evil devil Lucifer, the shaitan. He is Iblis. He has different terms and all and names, and we seek refuge in Allah from his evil doing, traps, all of his capabilities, capacities, allies. This is your humble and respectable orator Muhammad Israel, and we are reading the legendary military ideology series of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet Muhammad, the selected one. Peace and blessings and salutation and prayers of the Creator be upon him. And we wanted to let everyone know that certainly this will be video number 109. This is volume 2 instead of volume 1. Please do take the time to go back into all the prior series attached to this particular series, which includes the legendary military empire of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the era of Sayyidina Uthman bin Affan, as well as the legendary military governance, the era of Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, and the legendary military legacy of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the era of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu, as well as the legendary military career, the Madanite period of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, all on the Muhammadu Gambia channel. I do believe that the Abdul Fattah Muhammad channel would have from the legendary military nation, moving on to where we are currently. And we were discussing that in which stated that Ammar ibn Yasir would be slain by those who were in the wrong. And this was the saying of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And now discussing practically what brought to the end of the Battle of Siffeen was the slaying of the beloved companion Ammar ibn Yasir. Many would agree that in fact this turned the course of the battle from a battle that will be decided by military action versus a battle that would be decided through arbitration. So picking up now in reference to certain sayings that were in refutation to the saying that Ammar was not killed by the Syrian army. Ammar was killed by those who brought the fight to the Syrian army. So we were just going through that. Ad-Dahabi said, and again from page number 172, third paragraph, Ad-Dahabi said, open quote, according to the Rafidis, Ibn Maljam, the one who killed Ali ibn Abi Talib, will be the most wretched of creation in the hereafter for us Sunnis. He is one of those whom we hope will be in hellfire, but it is impossible that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu it is again possible, not impossible, that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu may forgive that individual, contrary to the view of the Kharijites and Rafidis. He comes under the same ruling as those who killed Uthman, Az-Zubair, Talha, Sa'id ibn Jubair, Ammar, Kharija, and Al-Hussein. We disavow ourselves of them and hate them for the sake of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, but we leave their cases to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. May He Jalla Jalaluhu be glorified and exalted by everyone who is seeking the truth, and Allah Jalla Jalaluhu puts His mercy and compassionate and accepts it from us. Al-Albani made an intelligent comment on what Ibn Hajar said, open quote, this is true, but applying it to every individual involved is problematic because this contradicts what is mentioned in the hadith under the chapter heading, open quote, the one who kills Ammar and the one who strips the booty from him will be in hellfire. It is not possible to say that Abu al-Ghadiya The killer of Ammar will be rewarded because he killed him on the basis of some justification that he had in his mind. When the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said that the killer of Ammar will be in hell, the correct view is to say that the principle is sound unless there is definitive evidence to contrary, in which case it is an exception, as is the case here. Excuse me. This way of understanding the issue is better than contradicting the sound hadith. Very important. Ibn Abdul Barr mentioned the biography of Abu al-Ghadiya al-Juhani and said, there was a difference of opinion concerning his name. It was said that it was Yassar ibn Sabu or Yassar ibn Azhar or Muslim. He lived in Syria in Wasid and is regarded as a Syrian. He met the Prophet ﷺ when he was young, and it is narrated that he said, I met the Messenger of Allah ﷺ when I was a teenager tending to my family's sheep. He heard from the Messenger of Allah ﷺ say, do not return to disbelief after I am gone, striking one another's neck. He loved Uthman bin Affan, and he is the one who killed Ammar ibn Yasir. He would describe how he killed Ammar if he was asked, and he would not mind. His story is astounding to scholars. Noble conduct during battle. 2.2.9. This would be video number 109, by the way. The Battle of Siffeen was one of the most remarkable battles among the Muslimin. This conflict was so amazing that the reader cannot believe what he is reading, and he is shocked by the behavior of people on both sides. Each of them stood in the midst of battle with his sword unsheathed and firmly convinced of the cause for which he was fighting. It was not a battle in which people were driven by leaders who were pushing the troops into a fight of which they were not convinced. Rather, it was a battle that was unique in its motives and in the way it was conducted, as well as the impact it left behind. The motives in the battle of the participants were highlighted by some stories that have reached us in the historical sources. 174 says the battle of the camel and Siffeen and the issues of arbitration. From the very first paragraph, they were like brothers going together to the water source, all drinking from it and crowding one another, scooping up the water, but no man harmed the other. In other words, if we remember from the very beginning, Ali's army got to the water reservoir late, and therefore Muawiyah's army of Syria had taken the water reservoir, and therefore the very first skirmish involved Ali's army fighting to get just the water reservoir. So once they did have it, it was able, each army or members from every army were able to, from each army were able to go and get water from there. And so they would see each other there at the water reservoir without fighting one another, without even speaking to one another. They were members of one tribe, each with his own opinion. So people of one tribe on one side might fight bitterly with people on the same tribe or of the same tribe on the other side, each believing that he was in the right and prepared to be killed for his cause. Two men would fight until they were exhausted. Then they would sit and rest and talk to one another a great deal. Then they would get up and fight again. They belonged to one religion, which was dearer to them than their own souls. When the time for prayer came, they would stop fighting so that they could pray. When Ammar ibn Yasir was killed, both sides offered the funeral prayer for him. Very interesting. Very interesting. Both sides offered the funeral prayer for Ammar ibn Yasir, although he was killed by those who were opposing Ali ibn Abi Talib, the commander of the believers. An eyewitness who took part in the Battle of Siffeen said fighting broke out at Siffeen and we kept fighting for days. Many of us were killed until even the horses were stabbed and killed. Ali radiallahu anhu sent a word to Amr ibn al-As telling him that the number of slain had increased and he should stop fighting so that each side could bury its dead. He agreed and the people mixed with one another until they were like that. And he intertwined his fingers. Open quote, one of the companions of Ali radiallahu anhu would charge and be killed in the camp of Muawiyah. Then he would be brought out from it. The companions of Ali radiallahu anhu carried one of their dead before Amr. And when he saw him, he said he strove hard and adhered strongly to the command of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. In other words, the camp of Muawiyah are complementing the slain from the camp of Ali, the commander of the believers radiallahu ta'ala anhum. They would hasten to forbid evil even in this situation. There was a group of pious people who were among the Syrian students of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. They did not join either Amirul Mu'mineen, the commander of the believers, Ali ibn Abi Talib, or Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. They said to Amirul Mu'mineen, we will go out with you, but we will not join your camp. We will camp on our own until we see how things turn out between you and the people of Syria. If we see someone wanting that which is not permissible for him or transgressing, then we will be against him. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, welcome, this is a deep understanding of al-Islam and knowledge of the Sunnah. Whoever does not approve of this is a transgressor and betrayer. End quote from Ali, the commander of the believers. In fact, this attitude is based on conviction and views that were deeply rooted in their souls, and they fought on that basis. 2.2.10 Treatment of captives. So, how were the captives treated? Good treatment of the captives and kindness towards them is something to be expected at Siffeen. Since we have discussed the noble conduct of both sides when fighting, Al-Islam has outlined how captives are to be treated. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ encouraged kind treatment of captives and giving them the best available food. This was in the case of non-Muslimin. So how about if the captives are Muslims? Undoubtedly, honoring them and treating them kindly is emphasized even more. However, a prisoner of war is regarded as a potential reinforcement for his group if he is released. Hence, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu instructed that they should be detained. If any prisoner swore alleged to him, if any prisoner swore allegiance to him, he was to be released. If he refused, his weapon and mount were to be confiscated or given to the one who had captured him, and he was asked to swear an oath that he would not fight. According to one report, he would give him 4 dirhams. Ali's aim in doing that is quite clear. It was to weaken the rebel side. A prisoner was brought to him on the day of Siffeen, and he said, open quote, do not kill me in captivity. End quote. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, I will not kill you in captivity, for I fear Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, the Lord of the worlds. End quote. He let him go. Then he said, is there any goodness in you to swear allegiance? So he asked him that question. From these reports, it seems that the statement of captives were as follows. They were honored and treated, or the treatment of the captives were as follows. They were honored and treated kindly. They were given the option of swearing allegiance and obeying the Caliph, in which case they would be released. If a prisoner refused to swear allegiance, his weapon would be confiscated and he would be asked to swear an oath that he would not go back to fighting. If he did so, then he would be released. If the prisoner insisted on fighting, then he would be kept in captivity, but he would not be killed. On one occasion, 15 prisoners were brought to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, and it seemed that they were wounded. Those who died were washed and shrouded, and the funeral prayer was offered for them. Muhibbuddin al-Khatib said, commenting on this battle, nevertheless, this exemplary battle was the first humane war in history, in which both sides adhered to the principles of virtue and the wise men of the West, which were implemented in their wars even in the 21st century. Many of the principles of war in Al-Islam would not have been known and written down were it not for this battle taking place. And Allah Jalla Jalaluhu has wisdom in all affairs, end quote. Ibn al-Adim said, open quote, I say, all of that shows the rulings and guidelines on fighting the transgressing group rebels. Hence, Abu Hanifa said, were it not for Ali's treatment of them, no one would know how to deal with Muslimin who rebel against the authority. 2.2.11 The number of people slain. The scholars have conflicting views concerning the number of people slain at Siffeen. Ibn Abi Khaythama said that it was 70,000. 25,000 of the people of Iraq and 45,000 of the people of Syria. Ibn al-Qayyim said that it was 70,000 or more. Undoubtedly, these numbers are not accurate. They are wildly inflated. Inshallah, we will stop it here at page number 177. Subhanakallahumma. Glory be and praise be to you, our Creator, our Maker, our Sustainer, and all thanks and gratitude belongs to you. In your names, in your attributes alone, there is great glory, bounty, and reward. There is no power, there is no might other than yours, and our final supplication is all praise is due to you and to you alone.